Hello. Today we will discuss the plot points in Terandria and Chandrar. Thank you for joining me. I'm Bleach Soul, and this is TWI Plot Discussions. We will start with Terandria. And by the way, if you want to speak or say something, write in reaction and comments, and I will read it, or just give you the word to speak. Yes, so we will start with Terandria. And Terandria, I put Terandria and Chandrar together because I can't see like many plot points in Terandria going on right now. But let's start with Lionette. When is she going back to Terandria? And what will happen with Alien Damus's war? So let's start with Lionette. Anyone have any opinion about when Lionette will go to Terandria? And when will she do it? Mafia Hamster, you have the floor.
Thank you. When will she do it is interesting. It's probably when somebody horribly died in Terandria. Then she has to go back. And honestly, what I am kind of interested in is, of course, she's going back, but Mirsha probably going with her. And having a goddamn Noel, the first princess, having a Terendrian Noel princess running around, being like dissed and throwing everybody up, and that's what I'm kind of hoping and being excited about. Mirsha and Terendria.
For Terandria, I have to say.
Yes, she is. She is gonna flip that castle upside down, the whole throne, and I just can't wait. I just can't wait for that. And it's gonna be hard for her because she's obviously gonna be ostracized and uh, frowned upon. But yeah, if somebody can take over anybody, it's her. And with her with her confidence, and obviously she's gonna be more powerful whenever she is going to be there. She's probably now one of the most powerful kids in her age. It's insane. And yeah, I can't wait for that, to be honest.
Thank you, Mafia Hamster. That guy?
I mean, Reckless already said that he accepts Mishra as princess. I don't know if that was just lip service or something, but I don't know if there's gonna be if it's gonna be a huge deal if the crown is backing her. And I also
Oh,
think that Lionette will probably not go to Terandria for quite a while, barring any unfortunate incidents, because she sort of has a lot of other stuff on her plate right now. She has this soul wound she's dealing with, and her class is also the princess of the inn. So unless she gets some sort of class change, I don't see her going for Terandria unless she somehow takes the inn with her.
What kind of role will Lionette play in stopping the war in Terandria? Willow says, I think Lionette will go once and after Eren returns to the inn. Do you guys think that, Lionette's friendship with Alien Damus will make Alien Damus stop attacking other nations, or maybe she will create some kind of similar system to Alien Damus, or have an alliance with Alien Damus, or something?
it's a. Oh, can I just talk or?
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
It's a bit. I mean, what's the name of the Vivan who leads them again? Um,
Uh, Risi,
you, huh?
Risveri,
Yeah,
Risveri.
Raspberry. Okay, Raspberry has been so much characterized again. He is like friends now with Ryoka and with I would say Lionette as well. And I'm wondering still, why is he even still doing that shitty war thing? I mean, okay, being friends with some of the characters probably doesn't change a whole nation, but it's okay. It's hard for me to explain what I mean. It's just why even have that stupid war? My goodness. And yeah, I hope so that Lynette can like at least do a little bit to lessen the damage.
Um, LFIM says Risveri wants Kalimfar's dragon throne and he's too proud to accept handouts from the likes of Teriarch.
Yeah,
Both and Spy writes agreed with Willow, but I think Lionette will need specific mission or reason to go. Like Mafia Hamster said, the death of her parents and a succession issue. I think it will be undercover, like she did in Alien Damus, and I think she will be key to peace negotiations with Alien Damus, but only after his very changes. He has been so focused on power for so long that will continue for some time, but I think he started to understand the value more than just raw power. He is still mourning, and I think for the time being at least, the war will stall out unless the Dawn Conquer that launches an offensive. That guy, you can speak.
Basically, agree with all of that. I mean, the main thing why the war started was that Raspberry was drooling over that dragon throne that he wanted, that apparently has all sorts of cool magical powers, which I'm not sure if we ever got any specifics on what it can actually do, except being, a safe place, which is good, very well defensible. I mean, generally, also Rivzeri just, wants to make his nation more powerful, and the only way he can see that happening is if he just, takes more territory by force. But, he may now, thanks to Leonette and other people, he might change his mind in the future. But right now, I think he still is unwilling to back down.
that's what I
Thank
mean.
you.
He's been mellowed down so much since we met him, and I hope that's a bit of a drive for him. I mean, he did change a lot since we first met him.
Mafia Hamster, can you please tag me so I can
Oh,
so I can
sorry.
speak next? No problem. Both and Spy says Dragon Throne seems like an upgrade of the Garden of Sanctuary. Yeah, well, I do agree with this. I do think, though, quite objectively speaking, that Alien Dams has the best system with regards to judicial system, and they're trying to find like a kind of minimum wage system. I no, probably I shouldn't say that. It's in the Kara box, but I mean, we got a lot more about Alien Dams in the Kara box, quite frankly, and I think their justice system and they have like knights who are common folk. It's largely better than most, probably, if not even all Terandrian countries. Both and Spy, you want to speak?
Yes, you actually just reminded me of this. Rather gave me this idea, but um, considering how much Raspberry's mellowed out and the coming conflict with um between the inn and what's his name, Nuvitin, um, it's possible that the next time that Leonette goes to Terandria is actually to advocate to Raspberry to like otherwise threaten war on the what's his kingdom called? I forgot. Basically the restful three.
Erebeth.
Aribathe, yeah. Um, to threaten war on them unless he like desists or go home. Like that actually seems like a viable scenario to me because he brought his elite troops basically, and his kingdom is less well defended. And so if Risveri threatens to blitz Aribathe, um, that might actually deter him.
Yeah, I don't agree that his kingdom now Erebeth is less defended. He took he took 10,000 of level 30 and two level 60, but I think they have much more. That guy says Alien Damus does cool stuff, but their attitude of spreading their peaceful way by force is not okay. Yeah, I do agree with that. LFIM says Risveri told Lionette the war is just politics, so the human cost of it doesn't seem real to him until Lionette rubs his face in it. That guy says, how close are Erebeth and Eliandamus? Don't they have their magic mist defense? Well, I'm not really sure about Terandrian geography, to be quite frank. I don't think they are close. I mean, the Kingdom of Shade is on the border of Eliandamus, and the Kingdom of what it's called, the Griffin Kingdom and stuff. That guy, you can say, yeah, thank you, Khalif. That guy, you can you have the word.
Yeah, the emo country is up north, I believe, and everything else seems to be like south or something. And I think Erebeth is actually pretty far away from Isla Dama, so if they want to threaten them, they have to march through Lionette's home country, I think. So, and that would be a bit counterproductive, you know?
Yeah, and we have seen like a bit of a magical showdown between Ciri and the Lucifin. It was quite fun, to be quite frank. Uh, any more thoughts about Alien Damus and Lionette before we move on to Nuvatim? All right, so we're moving on to Nuvatim now. Nuvatim has changed the course from Belarus to Israel. He's gonna go into the Wandering Inn. Uh, Now that's like a huge thing to be talking about. Like, what do you guys think and girls think Novatim will do when he reaches the inn? And when he talks to Erin, will they be like will she convince him, like, or because he seems like fair-minded? That guy, go ahead.
uh, I think he can't find it right now, right? Because it's protected. So, I mean, maybe the mage can help him get to the general location, but even if he arrives, he'll just be sitting there and not really able to find it. Also, I'm a bit confused what his deal actually is, because I thought he was going for Erin, because she was the one who killed his son. And I'm not really sure what his plan is with the Wandering Inn, because Erin is just, he knows that she's not there. If he should go anywhere, he should go to the Forgotten Wing Company, because that's where, Neri is, who's posing as Erin.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, after the inn has vanished, I think Novatim thinks that Erin has to do with it. Like she did something with her skills to make the inn vanish. So that's why he's heading there. At least that's my thoughts about it. Uh, People are typing. Mafia Hamster writes, I mean, it's still not hard to go to the inn with the portals. Everyone knows where they are. Both in Spy says, if we assume that this plotline will be as slow as it needs to be and Eren actually returns from Belarus in time, then I think might personally be able to convince him to at least not attack. But I think that his subordinates are rather rabid and insubordinates, and some might take it upon themselves to attack the inn anyway. I don't know. I just feel like something big is coming to really smack the inn, and it will be unexpected. Shot says, I mean, Amaris found the inn at level 50 with a hint from a level 60 warrior, so I assume the elf archmage from the Kreller Wars could find it once she is close enough. Yeah, I do agree with regards to Tsiri and the other elf, like also over level 60 can probably find it. But with regards to teleportation, I think even if you teleport through the gates, they still need a pathfinder. I mean, somebody to guide them there, as we have seen before. Yeah, LFIM says the skill adapts to make it resist tracking. That's a extremely powerful skill. That guy says if Nuvatim arrives after Eren, he would be traveling very slowly. LFIM says, yeah, they aren't on the approved list. They can't find the inn while they're standing in it. That is true. That was specifically said. Okay, if yeah, people are writing. Both and Spy, go ahead.
Depending on how everything on Chandrar shakes out, the horns also might be back in time for this confrontation. Again, if everything happens at the speed of the plot. Um, in that case, it might not actually be like Nuvitin that Eren convinces not to attack, but it might be um, what's her name, Syria, that actually convinces Ser maybe not to like defect or anything, but at least like stand aside and not participate, which would kind of sabotage or undermine a lot of Nuvitin's power, and make it so that the inn could actually put up much more of an effective defense. Um, or outright Nuvitin might decide not to like attack then and there and just like do something else sneaky or horrible.
Thank you, both on Spy. I just, to be quite frank, I don't like the horns interfering in this issue. To be quite frank, I know like Tseri and Syria has relation. You know, they know each other from a long time ago and stuff. But I would rather actually, you know, Erin solve this by herself. I mean, she talks to him, you know, and she tried to convince him or whatever methods the issue was solved. All right, now we'll move to Chandrar. Let's start with the horns. The horns and Kelt, what the horns will do otherwise in Chandrar. Will they get the sword for Kissinger, and how they will help Kelt, and what kind of character development will they have in Chandrar? That guy says Novatim doesn't seem like the guy to do horrible stuff out of spite. He make a rather level-headed impression considering that his son died. I agree. That guy, you have. Go ahead.
I'm just wondering right now if the sword is even that important, because even if they retrieve it, who's actually gonna use it? I mean, because Yvelon, like, she has her all silver arm thing going, and Kissinger, or whatever, however you say his name. He's like more. He has like a special blade school now, which wouldn't work with that big blade, because he needs his silver illusion swords.
Yeah.
So if they get it, they might just sell it, I guess,
Probably will gift
or
it to
trade it
somebody.
in to the Empire for some sort of favor, maybe.
I don't think they will do that. Maybe they probably give it to somebody who can use this kind of weapon. Botham Spy says the last thing we saw the Horns doing in Chandrar was being chaotic in Naravia Falling. Right? Yeah, that's true. They destroyed a couple of the Empress's enemies in the Colosseum. Like nothing. But the big focus will be at least according to the poll that Pirate did in October or maybe November, that the Horns will go to Kelt. So how will the Horns help Kelt defeat the Prophet and spawn in Kelt? And what's the repercussions will have on Kelt? Will Kelt have its ghosts back? I hope not. But what will effect have on Pisces? Like Kelt affect Pisces? Will he learn lots of necromancy there? LFIM says, I think once they rescue all their missing friends, the Horns will bail for Belarus to recover Cassiver, Vofia, and Erin. They were pretty impatient about it. Yeah, I agree about that. That guy says with a lot of violence with regards to Kelt. Botham Spy, go ahead.
So if I'm remembering my Chandrarian, my unofficial Chandrarian geography right, Nahavia's Fallen is like to like either the south and east or south and west of um what's it called, of
Chandrar.
Rhyme or Rem.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. So and this matters because if presumably I think their next mission is to try to go to Belarus, like LFIM said. I think they're pretty impatient to do that, but they might get sidetracked along the way, either by the whatever those Chimath marble mines, because every ruler on Chandrar is trying to get them to go in there, or by Celt stuff, or the Prophet stuff, or just having to avoid like assassination attempts by I can't believe I'm forgetting the name of the slaver nation.
Roshal.
Rochelle, yeah. Um, there's lots of ways that can be detoured, and so if they get a detour to Kelt, um, I think that, because remember, wasn't there that old like irrigation system or like well that Kelt used to have, and like it was kind of in disrepair. It kind of still worked, but it was kind of in disrepair. I think um, Pisces, with his like new skills and new focus, will be actually really instrumental into like at least restoring Kelt's card power. Um, I'm not sure really what he can do with the ghosts unless like they stop into the Chimath marble mines, because I assume there's safe in there, and so if he messes around with safe, maybe that can help out Kelt in there. Um, but yeah, I think after dying of shock, he will. I think what's his name, Fetohep, will probably take it upon himself to like mentor Pisces in necromancy and actually give him actual training. Um, okay, yeah.
Well, that would be great. I would love for Pisces to learn more necromantic magic. That guy says, wasn't the irrigation thing in Elvris with the water golem? Fetoheb is not a necromancer though. No, but I mean he has necromancers in Kelt, so they can teach Pisces. I think that's what he needs, and they have probably lots of necromantic books. Vivi says, The reasoning as to why the mines of Zete might be important enough to not mess around and how unstable the situation is to become unsafe for the people Kolth know who are apparently there. Like the problem of any adventurer going there, instigating the growth of the beetles. Yeah, I think with regards to sidetracking, I don't think the horns will deal in any way, shape, or form with Roshar right now in this volume, or maybe probably not the next until at least they gather all their forces and become much higher level. Yeah, but with regards to the mines, they probably if Golds can convince them and he knows like if his friends are down there and he can convince the horns to go and get them, like how Pisces is going to help his friends too there. That's a good point, Vivi. Any more ideas about how about Pawn? What will Pawn do? I mean, is Pawn really in Celt or and how will he help like Celt there against the Prophet? That guy. Go ahead.
Well, I think, Kelt obviously called him to deal with the Prophet. So I think I assume he's gonna introduce the concept of faith to the, Keltian people, and then they do some sort of faith necromancy thing, probably, to regain their former power. That's what I think that they're gonna do.
That's a great plan, but I really don't want Orkel, to be quite frank, to regain their old, power. I want them to start something new, something like, they've been doing the same thing for thousands of years. So I want them to do something new, to be quite frank, like faith-based magic, yeah, and necromancy, yeah, but not to have the souls to help them again. I just want something I want for the people to evolve better or more. Bothan Spy says Pawn for sure is in cult. He might turn cult from necrocracy to theocracy. Well, that's just terrifying, Bothan Spy. LFIM says they think Pawn is the one who bombed Roshal. Well, he did. Uh, I mean, with the two Antinium bombs there. Willow, go ahead.
My thing with the Prophet is we still don't know his true motivations. We only know what Thedahep has ever so graciously deigned us with, which is that he is a buzzing gnat to some extent. Of course, he could be a very large threat, and he probably is because of the lack of forces in Kelt. But we don't like. I could see the horns if it does come to violence, being able to stop him. But at the same time, if the horns aren't on the level of a nation by any sense of the imagination. So if he has like rallied followers from many small nations, he could conceivably be literally trying to destroy Kelt because he hates necromancy. Like it could just be as simple as he thinks that dead things are evil, and we just don't know enough to know what's going to happen next, in my opinion.
Thank you, Willow. With regards to faith and Fetohep, one of the greatest moments in the story, as far as I'm concerned, is how Fetohep stood up to Casigna and repelled her. And that was purely based on the faith of his people in him. So I think faith will play probably faith will play a big role in Kelt in the after the ghosts are no longer serving them. Botham Spy says that isn't strictly true, Willow. We got some brief scenes from the POV from the horns and Siv Aurelius. My personal opinion based on my life experience that the Prophet is LARPing, an actual true believer, and is just in it for power. I don't think there are any Earthers around him, like that one king in Belarus. Well, but I do think he has lots of followers, though. I think the Prophet has lots of followers, which is why Fetoheb see them as a potential threat. Faith is like probably the antithesis to necromancy. So yeah, it's probably quite dangerous to leave him with not being dealt with. Just get Erin to smack him. Problem solved, Bohan Spy says. Willow answers Bohan Spy. That's true. I forgot about both of them. LARP King sounds like a loser. How dare you people say that about the true king of Belarus? People are typing. That guy says the prophet seems more like a mimetic threat, like his idea spreading through the populace. His followers have cool faith powers, but they aren't that many. Cult is probably just in trouble because they don't have a living army. Both and Spy, go ahead.
I mean the Lark. I don't even remember his name. All I remember
Yeah,
is that it starts with an L. But more seriously, I think how this ends up shaking out is depends on whether or not they actually get a chance to talk to this infant one on one, and like kind of the jig is up, the charade is over. Like let's actually like talk for real. Um, I think that if they don't end up destroying the prophet, um, and I do think that I mean, not completely destroyed, but I think like most of the movement can be taken out by like Celt and Celt's allies ultimately. But if they don't go that way and they're actually able to like talk about like the dead gods and how like there's an actual bigger threat at play, they might become a very, very, very powerful ally in actually combating the dead gods. And it might be a good thing to spread the faith in those gods because along with like the faith in the system, it might actually like if you end up converting everybody who believes in the dead gods in the aftermath of the solstice, that would like dramatically reduce their power. I mean, they'd still have some because the concept of like a god would exist, but it would kind of sort of nip that threat in the bud by like basically cutting them out of potential believers, and would then like also undermine the Goblin King's whole spiel of, oh, you know, um, faith in the dead gods, you can solve that by killing everybody, and sort of that might affect the Goblin plot by extension, but that's theoretical.
thank you, Both and Spy. I do. I do believe. I don't. Quite frankly, I don't want the Horn to kill an Earther. They can probably knock him out and then take him to the inn or somebody where there are Earthers. Probably Elena would talk to him and probably convince him. Yeah, but I mean, he might be a huge ally against the gods. Vivi says, would we specifically want for Kelt to no longer be a paradise nation at all and accepted will become far less enduring against the passage of time, or having it regress to starting from zero or enduring in the future, not by a manner of ritual and becoming a new entry of Shield Kingdom with Actelius corrupted, as now it will be left just three. That guy says Eren already killed Earthers. The Horns can do it too. Come on. We don't know if Emily's dead. So LFIM says, in my opinion, Fetoheb just needs to come clean with his people so they can accept the responsibility for the safety and prosperity of their nation. Yeah, I do agree about that. But although if he says it in public, it will put Kelt in extreme danger. Nobody will stop Floss from attacking it, especially with how wealthy Kelt is with regards to food and gold and artifacts. That guy, if Kelt is going down, Floss is gonna be rolling to Jakras within the week. Yeah, actually, which is a great segue for the next point, which is King of Destruction and Floss. In his animosity with the Empire of Sand and Naravia Fallen mostly. So what will Floss achieve, if anything, in this volume, or will he suffer like some kind of a minor defeat or something? Because the Empire of Sand is they have planning for a long time for action and stuff. So and probably they're producing weapons too after Rochelle showed them guns and stuff. So they might be extremely dangerous with that regard. That guy says it's funny that he has so much beef with Empire of Sands, but I don't think he has actually ever done anything against them. I mean, he sent Takratis to just distract them and annoy them as much as possible, but he didn't have full attack on them because I think they're geographically a bit far away. LFIM says Naravia will set off a hemp and maybe Cotton cast rebellion in Naravia Fallen and things will get bad for everyone. Oh yeah, Naravia. That rascal. That guy says he keeps smacking Naravia because it is easier. Yeah, and I mean, it's like sad how they treat how they have the caste system. So yeah, hopefully something changed soon and not Naravia taking power again. But also, King of Destruction is going also after the mines. Will he like get something from the mines, or will the hero of Zete like stop them? Because there is fear of the underground monsters like the beetles and stuff will go out and wreak havoc. That guy says rebellion is long overdue in response to LFIM with regards to Naravia comment. Botham Spy says the king of dentistry, Floss, will probably get dealt another major defeat by the Empire of Sands with their guns this volume. I'm not sure if he will actually be able to exploit a Naravia Fallen uprising or even if it will happen this volume. But Floss is due for a huge ego check. I so much agree. And yeah, I do hope so because I think he had it like easy for a long time. For now, Willow, go ahead and speak.
So two things. I do think Flos is the most likely target to suffer a gun related problem because, as was established by his fight with the Minotaurs, the most vulnerable part of his army is the relatively underleveled line forces, who are also the most vulnerable to massed firearms. And it was sort of set up because of how many times he has basically kind of ignored the threat of guns. Then the second thing is we also need to remember that it's not just a general cotton or hemp uprising, but that Nerhalia broke every single defense pact between all the minor string folk nations, and everybody hates everybody. There's potential that the Empire of Sands and Nerhalia's Fallen also get into a war, which would be interesting, let alone all the minor nations breaking away from the Empire of Sands, potentially.
That's good point. I think yeah, with the after what happened in with the string folk and in the null auction or expo. So yeah, I think the animosity between them and Naravia is growing, and and Naravia following is growing, and Naravia will exploit that. LFIM says Emperor of Sands will put on the Corevia head and hit him where it really hurts. Both of Spy ask, they have her head? It's a theory. It's a theory, like, because of the Empire of Sand, like, showed up after Corevia died, I think. That guy says, I think the hero of Zelkir won't get involved. He's mainly focusing on his children right now. Botham, in reply to Botham Spy with regards to Corevia's head, LFIM says it's pretty strongly implied the crazy head is her. That guy, go ahead.
I'm like pretty sure that Ravia's Fallen will just collapse in the near future because they keep talking about their endless hordes, but they keep wasting armies. So I'm pretty sure they're due to just fall apart in the near future. Especially if the Empire of Sands notice that they get a free shot at them now that all the contracts are gone.
Thank you, that guy. I don't think it's that easily to collapse Naravia Fallen. I mean, they have lots of high level from what we have seen, like especially that mage who could stop like a freaking black hole of black magic, of death magic. So yeah, I mean, it's gonna take much more than that to collapse it.
I mean more like internal collapse and rebellion, especially with all the repression that's going on, because
Yeah.
that those high level people are way outnumbered.
Yeah, that might happen. If no more, okay, Botham Spy is typing. The next, Botham Spy said, I don't think Naravia Fallen collapses without the direct intervention and sponsoring of Naravia herself. Yeah, I do agree with that. Alright, if there is no more comments about it, so we'll move on to the next, which is Tomb Home, or Actelius Shalash. LFIM says Yasemi needs to leave so she can go to war with Caroline. Yeah. Well, we have to. We'll move on to Latelius Salash or Tomb Home. Now that Tomb Home has declared war on Floss, and they're ignoring their treaties and their history and getting more crazy. What will happen to that plot point? And will they actually damage Floss and his armies? What will other Shield Kingdom do? Will they try? Will they stop it? That guy says, "Screw this nation. I got important stuff to do." Botham Spy says, Tomb Home feels like the equivalent of the Dyed Lands in Belarus. I think it will require the whole continent to repel. Yeah, I do agree. I mean, it took a legendary magic from Celt, like one-time magic, to put Lactelius to sleep. So yeah. Also, LFIM says Eren already has Peric paranoid with the threats of invading Seam Waters. If Lactelius starts moving, it might drive him insane. Actually, yeah, it's also a point of discussion with regards to Medane and the Jinn. Botham Spy, go ahead.
Okay. Here's my crackpot theory. Crackpot theory. So, Tomb Home will start basically crashing out once the Prophet plotline is resolved, and if it gets resolved with the Prophet actually joining forces with, maybe not joining forces with Kelp, but like realizing that like Seamwalkers and the dead gods are the true enemies. I think that's when that plotline will activate, and the prophet will actually be key and instrumental in maybe not like outright destroying Actelios Salash, because oh boy, I mean that if there's anything in this story that genuinely scares me, it's Actelios Salash. Maybe they'll be able to like permanently put it back to sleep or like reset it or something. And the prophet might be instrumental in that.
Do you think it will be instrumental when Sleepy awakes, so he can control like probably seam walkers and stuff, or maybe when that what's his name, that other god who actually controls seam walkers, but will it play like a huge role when the god come back, do you think?
Well, it seems
No,
um
right. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, go
it
ahead.
seems it got established in, I think it was the Palace of Fates fight, that like the only real way to like fight a god is with another god. Like you need to fight the idea of a god, and it really only seems like gods like have a great idea of how to actually do that and accomplish that. So I think like if the ball gets rolling on the prophet's faith and an actual god spawns out of the faith that he created, I think that will be able to fight Actelios Slash and potentially Sleepy and Rear. But I Sleepy and Rear kind of seems like on a whole different level. Like deleting two Antenium hives by rolling over in your sleep is kind of insane. So I think that's a much longer term project.
Thank you, Bosan Spy. LFIM, thank you for your help in writing Norectal. I think that's how you pronounce it. The god who controls Steamwalkers. Yes. Any more thoughts about Tomb Home and Lactelius? What about Trey's plot? Where will what will Trey do anyway to Lactelius? Will he drive Floss to attack Lactelius Salash? He's Botham Spy asks where is Trey right now? He is in he's still like in Chandrar, still in Floss camp, I think. But Trey has actually like promised vengeance upon Lactelius Salash. That guy says his sister went to the New Lands, yes. And Trey saw her off, I think. That guy says.
I think that Trey. Hmm? Oh, I'm so
Yeah.
sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I already started talking. Sorry. But I think that Trey, he's going to need like a serious power, like probably at least 30 to 40 more levels before like we actually start talking about like taking on Actelios Slash. So he might get a chapter in the near future where he has some sort of transformation, because I also think he needs a Slash transformation, like being like a schemer magician, like not magician, a schemer uh blood sand mage is not gonna cut it. So we might see him um I don't know, maybe he goes till the monks of Satheim. I don't know, something. But he's gonna get a lot more development. If he's actually gonna be the one to like spearhead taking on Actelios Slash.
Well, thank you, both of Spy. I don't believe he will take on. He will spearhead. He will just get Floss to do that for him. To be quite frank. All right. So now we move on to the next plot point, which is. I mean, let's go to Rochelle. So Rochelle, we know it won't be dealt with this volume. Probably not. So and with their weapon factory now, and the new lords, slave lords, and we know like Theta, I don't know, Theta Losian or whatever his name is. He plans like he's doing his planning to counter Seam Walkers. So he might go against Rochelle. So where would that put, for instance, Yazdil and the others? So Rochelle is like a huge. It's also playing. It's also playing the race. So will Rochelle also control the race in the long term, or what will happen with their policies? Will Floss turn against them finally? Because we know the Empire of Sands doesn't trade with them because of Lionette and her marble deal with them. LFIM says, what I fear is that Rochelle won't be dealt with, and the most we'll see is a regime change with Thetalosian installed as a lesser evil alternative compared to the other slave lords. I really hope it doesn't happen like that. I hope like Rochelle gets freaking obliterated. And its idea of having slaves, enslaving people and earning money off them, and with wishing well and all kind of crap, it should be like absolutely obliterated. Both on Spy, go ahead.
This is just to ask a quick question. But where did Adalocian head after he went to Rear? And like he got that he got like the slave that he wanted. Um,
I think he was heading back home to Rochelle.
okay, to Rochelle. Okay, so he's not heading to like Israel or like Terandria.
No, I mean
Okay.
Terandria is quite against slavery, so he won't be welcome there. Neither is Israel. LFIM says, me too with regards to what I said about Rochelle's destruction. And he says also he wanted, like Thetalosian, he wanted a ceasefire with the death of chains if possible. Because, they have like, they have like one common enemy. If you see Seamwalkers, he sees the Seamwalkers as a far bigger threat than any others, which is why he's trying to stop them. Yeah, he asked a demon about it, says LFIM. Botham Spy says, I think Thetalosian will essentially go rogue, but still be loosely associated with Rochelle. I can't tell what his long-term plans are, but he may form individual alliances, maybe with the Empire of Sands, to advance his own purposes. Yeah, I mean, he has his own goals. The thing is, the idea of Rochelle is like quite repulsive, to be quite frank. So when their end comes, I hope it will end them, like end the freaking all the slavers and the idea of slavery. Get it off. LFIM says, I think he'll be important in taking down the Blighted Kingdom. He could smell their BS after just one visit. Yeah, I hope so too. Any more? Yeah, Botham Spy is typing. And anybody wanna speak about this or have any opinion? Please type them. Botham Spy says, I honestly think Rochelle may be the last big bad to be taken down before the dead gods are neutralized for good. I think, Rear will be the end game. I think like the Blighted Kingdom and Sleepy. Anywho, if nobody has any more thoughts about those, we'll move on to Medane and Jakras. I wrote them like because there is this conflict in Jakras between, it's not conflict, but disagreement between the king and queen, Rael and his daughter. And with that, and I hope like the horns will help Rayelt deal with his shit before their kingdom fall apart. And with regards to Madain, it's only like the only thing I want to happen is like the freedom of the genie. I hope the horns just free the genie. LFIM says Rochelle are making themselves an immediate problem, so they may be the next to go. They're sticking their fingers in many pies. Yeah, I do agree with that. Botham Spy, go ahead.
I honestly think that Rails is like almost a loose cannon at this point. He seems really obsessed with getting back at Madain and King Peric, and he may not like abdicate, but he might just like abandon the throne and go on like a personal mission to like personally um just mess up Madain real bad somehow. Um, it might, if the horns are involved, I mean, he might just like join them, like straight up. Because when we last saw him, he was already pretty much neglecting the kingdom and sort of abdicating more and more responsibility that wasn't anything to do with military operations to his daughter. Um, and if he's gone, like she'll be left with, the split between the trick riders and I forgot what like the faction that Rails leads the faction of trick riders. Do they have a name?
I can't remember, to be quite frank. I think their name is Trick Writers, or no, not Trick Writers, probably. I can't remember, quite frankly. But yeah, there are
Yeah.
like two factions: his and her Justice Squad, or whatever it's called, the Jacana.
Yeah. Oh yeah, right, yeah. So I don't think it'll like end up as like a civil war or anything. I think Rails is just he's going out the door. This really matters to him. Um, as for how the horns might be involved, um,
I
I'm not too
yeah,
sure.
go ahead.
I'm not too sure. But it might just be incident. A lot of things on Chandrar might just be incidental. Um, or it's not even the horns, but like some other event happens. So let's say the Chamath marble mines like that goes down, and then Madain gets seriously weakened by that. I mean, Jakras. I mean, if it's like really seriously weakened, Jakras might be able to just go after them themselves, or the King of Destruction might take them out. Who knows?
Yeah, I think like I was thinking the connection with the horns would be like both Pythis and Cols who had like trauma about being enslaved, like tortured. They could relate to Rayelt and maybe within that convince him to change his ways and abdicate his throne and just retire and let his daughter rule. That was my thought process with regards to the horns changing, stopping the dispute between Rayelt and Jacana. All right, so that's the plot points I've written about. Like if we're gonna talk about Neravia, Neravia, how much of damage she will do. I mean, to Chandrar. Will she? Will she like take over Floss and subdue him? What will happen? Botham Spy says, I agree, Bleachful. Either way, he isn't interested in ruling any longer. Yeah, that's true. Okay, so the last thing we have to talk about is Naravia's influence in Chandrar, or what will happen when if she's there, and what she will do. Yeah, it's obvious, like she will try to take Naravia back, but but she will like clash directly with Floss, I think, of course, because he wants to expand and she will stop him. So what will that play? That guy says, I think Narevia will get her empire back and then kick Floss in the buttocks. Yeah, that's probably gonna happen. Especially with her like army of ridiculous levels. Like the ancient army of ridiculous levels. That guy says also Floss will be outleveled for once. LFIM says Floss doesn't really feel like such a threat with everyone leveling up. So Narevia rebuilding her empire feels like the logical step up. Yeah, I do agree with that. And I wonder how Naravia will deal with Roshal. Maybe she will deal with them differently. Oh yeah, LFIM says Naravia can cancel all their contracts. Yeah, damn. I mean, that's overpowered, if you ever seen them. Botham Spy says, honestly, Floss might be counter-leveling against Naravia, and if Doomhome becomes a problem, she might lead the response against it. Actually, I do like the idea of her leading the response against Doomhome. Samu says she will make friends with the Empress, Emperor of Sands, because of their shared passion for collecting heads of people they think worthy and putting them on the shelves. Come on, man. That's cold. Well, I think like but will Erin be against Naravia? And what will happen like if Naravia take over Chandrar? What will happen in her relation with Erin in the inn, for instance? Bothan Spy says, do you think Trey would defect from Floss to Naravia? She has more power. She could actually end Roshal. I mean, if he will defect to anybody as long as he achieve his goals, I think. He will most definitely defect there if he thinks Naravia can destroy Roshal. LFIM asks, would Naravia be worse than Floss, Roshal, the Empire of Sands, or Naravia Fallen? She's extremely arrogant in what I have seen. Like, oh, in my days this, in my days that. So, but she had learned a lot from her downfall. So probably, I'm not sure if she's gonna be good or bad. So the power might rise to her head again, and she might be like the most brutal dictator ever made. So who knows? To be quite frank, I just don't want her to get any more power than she already has. Samu, go ahead.
Yeah, what I'm thinking is she even interested in becoming the tyrant again? Like as the whole as of the whole of Chandrar. I have like I think there have been hints that she has a little bit different goals now and that she's playing for some kind of end game with what she's learned in the lands of the dead, at least to some extent. I mean, she still wants to be a ruler and such, but I'm not sure if she's as normal a power player as she was back then. And I think that's gonna be mess up everyone else a little bit more than her actually being basically a second Floss with higher levels but less good henchmen. Um, I think she has more subtle goals than Floss does, or she's not as expansionist. Or I could see her approach as being less expansionist as she's been before. So, yeah.
Thank you, Samu. Both and Spy.
So there's this really interesting dynamic between Aaron and Nerhavia. Aaron hates Nerhavia's guts, and Nerhavia, but like they both still have mutual respect for each other. I think because personally, I've been skeptical that Nerhavia isn't like interested in just doing the same stuff over again. At least like if her character doesn't develop. Um, but if she does go the route that like Samu was saying of pursuing different interests, or like LFIM just said in the chat if she wants to become a god, um, I think if not outright align herself, Aaron might like just leave her alone or like pursue like parallel goals to her and like rely on or ask in her behavior for some help.
I see. Thank you, both and Spy. LFIM says she wants to try to become a god, if I remember correctly. Yeah, that will be a nightmare scenario. All right, now we have been going on over an hour. I will end the recording now. Thank you all for participating and have a great evening.